we are on to our next adventure. Where am I taking you? Just stay tuned, sit tight, we'll get there soon. That says we are on Confederate Avenue. There's some cannons over there. My car is saying it is 83 degrees, but I swear it's warmer than that. I'm not going to discuss the entire history of the Civil War event, or we would be here all day. I think we all get the gist, but here's a very, very small recap. The Battle of Gettysburg took place over a 3-day period, July 1st through July 3rd, 1863, between Union and Confederate forces that fiercely fought in and around Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
At the stop sign, turn right onto US 15, Business South.
That over there is the peach orchard. This might be a clue what we're doing. It's a clue. If you guess we're doing something with horses, you'd be correct. Look how pretty they are. There's one. Look how cute they are. This is our licensed battlefield guide, Truman. I loved him. It's like having a little history teacher with you. I'll talk more about the licensing process at the end of this video if you're curious.
I think there are in it 500, something like that. It looks like that to me. How many came with John Kennedy? 3.
Wow.
And the presidential vehicle was a light-colored convertible. A nice day like this, late March, they had the top down. He's behind the wheel. He has his aviator shades.
This story struck me as funny. Jacob Sheeds, a local high school history teacher, was supposed to drive the president around the battlefield. Turns out Mr. Sheeds did not have a valid driver's license. The Secret Service refused to allow Sheeds to drive the President of the United States around. Go figure. President Kennedy took matters into his own hands and drove the motorcade around himself. The tour party picked up Sheeds at the Edgewood bowling lanes on Emmitsburg Road, where the motorcade began. Beautiful Jackie accompanied him on this visit. I'll mention the Kennedys again in another upcoming video. I found this picture that Mr. President sent to Mr. Sheeds, and I would have thought that Kennedy would have had better handwriting. It appears to say, to Jacob Sheeds with, I can't read that word, warm regards, Kennedy.
Right, and it gives you an idea of how good his writing spell really was. Black iron sign about 2 feet tall there. What does it say? Can anybody read that?
I can read it, but I also know what the word is.
Oh, okay.
Confederate Avenue.
Confederate Avenue. There we go. And my eyes can't read that either. That's what it is. But what we see is on the avenues, on the Confederate line, the avenues are always named Confederate Avenue. There's not a single avenue named for any Confederate general. Who won this battle? Not a single avenue named for any Confederate general anywhere on this battlefield. On the Union line, which is on the other side of the battlefield, you can look up there at those 2 hills, Big and Little Round Top. We'll talk more about them soon. On the Union line, the avenues are named for Union generals in 1863, and that's why neither army fights a big battle there. So it's very difficult to get people to move through there. It's difficult to fight a battle. It really is very much pointless. There is a path to the top. You can climb that today. I have to stop 4 times before I can get to the top anymore. But once I get up there, what do I see? I haven't done this for years. What do I see? I can't see anything because it's covered with trees. All the way to the top, all you see, we can see what looks like a castle. That's 44th and 12th New York Infantry Regiments. What state in the North had the most money for building monuments after the Civil War? Think Wall Street.
New York.
New York, absolutely. New York monument up there. Wherever you see a group of Union monuments, there's one that's almost always bigger than the rest. It's almost always New York.
I thought I would offer some suggestions after visiting the battlefield as a first-time novice, and in this video I will do a comparison of horse versus double-decker bus tour since I signed up to do both. So if you're curious, please follow along as I will go over the pros and cons of each. If you are somewhat interested in history, the Civil War or the Gettysburg Battle specifically, I believe you could easily spend a day to a day and a half to see everything you want and completely be satisfied with your visit. If you are a die-hard Gettysburg history buff who has studied the entire campaign in depth and want to take your time visiting as many historical markers and monuments as you can, you might want to spend 3 to 5 days, if not more. If you have time constraints, I would highly recommend signing up for a guided tour. You will cover more ground, seeing a lot more things in a short period of time with an experienced, licensed battlefield guide. Of course, you can drive around for free and look at what you want randomly like I did most of the time, or the National Park Service has a free app you can download to do their designated audio tour stops that have designated markers to visit along the 24-mile battlefield route.
The orchard and strike at Little Round Top to our right, and beyond that, Cemetery Ridge. They will seize the high ground. It won't be a battle because there's no Union troops there. They're going to just walk up onto it, turn left, and roll up the Union line all the way to town, winning a simple, cheap, and decisive victory. Well, that's not what happened. When they get down to Seminary Ridge behind me, they look across at the Union line and 10,000 Union soldiers right across them. So something went sideways. And we see it doesn't say Confederate Well, we look at our monuments like the one to our left, we can see rifles on the corners, and beneath the rifle there's a diamond. The diamond is the emblem of the 3rd Army Corps Dan Sickles troops. We look at the next monument, we can see at the top there's a diamond. It's in red granite because the first division of any corps with its patch, they're created red, white, blue. Red for the 1st Division. So we see that there, 1st Division, 3rd Army Corps, plainly visible to us. This is the first time the U.S. military has used patches or badges or emblems. They're very popular with the soldiers. You can ride along the battle line and see who's where and what they're doing in a simple way. We see their patches and badges here, whether it's the circle, shamrock, diamond, star, cross, or crescent moon. First time they've used it. We see a couple little granite blocks here to the left. Those are flank markers, they're not grave markers. As far as we know, there's nobody buried under any monument or any marker out here. Just the flank markers marking the left or right ends of battle lines. And now we see 3rd Michigan Infantry. We see these soldiers fighting desperately with their muzzle-loading rifles. And they're not fighting in the peach orchard. The trees on the monument are way too big. The peach orchard trees are a lot smaller. They're fighting out to our right, the heavy forest to our right. That's where they are. And we see the front, right on, there's a diamond. And we see now on the side, what do we see right in the middle of the side? The diamond. There it is. So we know how these people feel about their emblems and about their patches.
Dude, it's just a car. Search up horse tours of Gettysburg.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
$1,000 we'll let you on.
Yep. Look right along the muzzle ring and you see numbers and letters. That's the manufacturer's information stamped into the muzzle ring. So whenever you're looking at a cannon and it has numbers and letters stamped into it, it's the real thing. If it's smooth and featureless, that's a fake. So it's very simple to tell. People think it's some sort of complicated algorithm or something like that. No, it's not like that. Not like that at all. There's a rifled gun. Now these were mostly smooth bores. They were short range, 1 mile range. They could fire a 12-pound ball or solid shot all the way for a mile. And this is a Napoleon cannon, invented in France under the auspices of Emperor Napoleon III, great military technician, strategist, all those things. That's what he told people. It's not true. It's not true at all. But he had that way of deceiving people. He fit in well in our modern world. But what we look ahead of us, we can see on the left side of the road, there's a pipe with an eagle on it. It's got 5 pillars holding up, 5 columns holding it up. This is a monument to the Excelsior Brigade, 5 regiments of New York troops in the New York City vicinity in 1861. And what we see is all this firing back and forth is going to create a huge cloud of smoke. The noise is probably more than anyone has ever heard on the North American continent at that time. And while the armies are firing back and forth at each other, they can't see the results. They can't see through the smoke and dust. The Confederate bombardment is traveling from left to right across the landscape in front of us. It will miss the line of view. It's not doing them any good. The Union Army is firing from right to left. Is looking for the Confederate Army, looking at them to see what they're doing over there. He's not engaged in frantic combat.
Well, we see our monument. This is a Union monument. 15th New York Battery. That'll be a Union monument. It's an artilleryman. He's got the cannon, he's got the soldiers straight here. And where's he looking? He's looking right out there, way in the distance where we saw Confederate Avenue, crossing the main road. He's looking that way because our soldiers always look and or point towards the other side. It's a way to read the battlefield. Now, as we walk over here, make sure it's not loaded. This time of year, it's the world's best birdhouse.
I got it.
Cat-proof, snake-proof,
That's right.
weather-proof,
There you go.
and solar heated. And we can see there's one of our blocks, right flank, 15th New York Battery. If we have a right flank block, we should have a
Left flank.
it's right down there. It's past the other cannon. So we can see where the cannons would be. There would be 4 cannons in this battery as it deploys here. 3 brigades.
We want to look to our right here for a second. We want to look at this soldier wearing a French-inspired uniform. Gaiters, short embroidered jacket, sash, baggy trousers, a little skull cap with a tassel, and that French mustache. This is Pennsylvania troops wearing a French Zouave-style uniform. Right here on the battlefield at Gettysburg. We see these Zouave-style uniforms in various campaigns.
It's hard to believe something so ugly and horrific happened in this beautiful countryside.
First Pence, and now they're close enough to the Union line that the stone wall at the top of the ridge, lined by Union riflemen, will also open fire. They open fire, and that's the big killer on the Civil War battlefield, the small arms fire, causing 80% of battle casualties. Artillery, only 20%. It's used for park ranger housing. Well, the Rangers do pay a certain fee to live there. Their presence protects the building against vandalism. It's very important. And all our Civil War buildings now have central heating. They have air. They have indoor plumbing. And I always take our troops on horseback here for indoor plumbing. It's good for them. And they have the internet. So nobody really wants to live like 1863. And to our left, we see a small stone house that belonged to African-American blacksmith Abraham Bryan. In 1863, he and his family abandoned the building before the armies arrived. They come back, they find basically everything that was in there gone.
Like a pulley, something.
If you have a specific regiment or state monument you want to visit, definitely look them up before you go so you'll have them mapped out so you don't want to miss the one you want to see. Google Maps will show you exactly where the monuments are that you're looking for to save time.
What does Robert E. Lee know? Not much. Not much at all.
I really enjoyed this horse carriage ride. I'll put their info in the description box. The real stars of the show were Loki and Pixie. They did a wonderful job transporting us to and from the battlefield.
Precious.
I swear our guide on that tour said there's 13,000 monuments out here at Gettysburg. There's no way I'll be able to see 13,000 monuments. Not even possible. I think I misheard him. I don't think it was 13,000. I think it's 1,320 historical markers and signs and monuments. That's still a lot. Everywhere you look, I swear, there's a monument. The clock currently says it's 101. I'm sure that's the internal temperature. But it's hotter than Hades out there.
This is
was what I was supposed to do, this tour. I did not do it. I bailed on the bus. Bailed on it. A couple of reasons I did not go on the bus tour. It was hot, y'all. I booked an upper level because I thought it was going to be fun and a good vantage point of the battlefield, and it probably was. There were a few empty seats down below. I could have moved downstairs. However, the nail on the coffin was when we checked in, we got a pair of those disposable type earphones. I climbed up to the bus, made my way to the top, sat down. I took out my phone out of its case and noticed I do not have a port or plug in place to meet the requirement for an audio tour. This is the moment I realized there was not going to be a live tour guide. If I had stayed up there, I would have been roasting in the sun for 2 hours, baking like a rotisserie chicken, listening to absolutely nothing for over 2 hours. I quickly made the decision to abort this mission and vacate the bus. I think I made the right decision in the moment. Let me know in the comments what you would have done in the same situation. Based on what I know now, I would highly recommend the horse tours of Gettysburg. The cost was around $77 per person for 2 hours. The carriage is covered so you're not exposed to the sun unless you choose to get out at a couple of the brief stops we made. The rhythmic sound of the hooves with the clanking of the horseshoes on the pavement, the gentle rocking of the carriage, and the jangling of the harnesses, it almost made me feel a stronger connection with 1863 time period. Plus, I love horses. Having your own live historian describing the battle highlights was priceless. I loved every minute of it. This was me immediately getting off the bus, and I didn't even do anything. The 2-hour bus tour, you will have the opportunity to make more stops and cover more ground because it is faster than traveling with horses like Loki and Pixie. You have the option to be covered or exposed if you do the double-decker option. If you are okay with not having a live tour guide, this might be the best option for you, and it was $44 for a ticket. I mentioned I would discuss the requirements for the licensed battlefield guide. I'm not going to go over all of the details. It's very intense, so you can Google it and look it up, research it for yourself. But the test is known as one of the hardest tests in history. It's a 5-tier process to become a licensed battlefield guide at Gettysburg. Tier 1 is the written examination, and 90% of the people fail this. Tier 2 is the competitive panel interview. They must assess their ability to communicate historical facts engaging and professionally to the public. Tier 3 is the field practicum, an intense hands-on weekend that evaluates your geographical knowledge and field comprehension of the battlefield. Tier 4 is the oral examination. You must conduct a simulated 2-hour tour in your vehicle for a testing committee, playing the role of visitors, and deliver a highly accurate and interpretive narrative. Tier 5 is the post-licensing orientation, a mandatory onboarding session covering park regulations and administrative requirements. It's just wild, y'all. All of this, if they pass and become a guide, they're not even national park employees. They're independent contractors. And this is why I tipped Truman. A wealth of knowledge, and he went through all this trouble to become a licensed battlefield guide. Come back next time and I will tell you where I went since I didn't do the bus tour. Until next time, bye for now.